So Uncle Driver calls Uncle Shefo and tells him, come, 150,000 just entered Madam's account. All we just need to do is go to somebody's house. Bros, I like the sound of 150,000. Let me tell you something. A wicked person is a wicked person. You know, get waiting you want tell me. You can't tell me that. You can't tell me that because of somebody did something, or maybe people are doing something, and that's what has changed you. That is what has turned you, made you transcend into a creature that you don't understand. Look. Honestly speaking, I will keep saying this from now to tomorrow. From now to Jesus Christ comes. I will never stop saying it. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is that you are who you are, okay? You can't come out and say, oh, this thing made me do this. For you to have contemplated, my dear darlings, for you to have contemplated that the thought brooded in your heart, in your spirit, soul, and body, and then you manifested it. It is a part of you somewhere hidden in your subconscious, but you don't even know. Anyways, fam, before I reveal to you the secret things in secret places for today, first of all, I want to welcome you to another episode of the Kiwi Show, guys. It's been a wonderful ride with you guys so far, and this is your first time seeing my face in front of your screen. How about you click that like button? Do not forget to subscribe, and of course, share to your friend. This is your girl Jessie Rogers here again. So somebody was met, and they told him, "Bros, come. Make I reason you something. Come. He tells him, do you like the sound of 150,000? Do you? And the boy was like, bros, I like the sound of 150,000. Very good. All we just need to do is go to somebody's house and we can have the money to ourselves. And the guy's like, hey, no now, bros, I cannot do it. Yeah, Jew man. My friend, let's do this. Just like that. 150,000. Now, before I get into what could have been the possibility or, whatever driving force it is that led to this, crazy act, this crazy psychopathic act, before I get into those details, I'd like to tell you this very heartbreaking stories. Find tissue because myself, I feel joined on a cry. So I don't know how many of us know the CEO of Kitchen Country in Akure, Ondo State, Mrs. Adeni Olakunbi. Yes, she was the CEO, Chief Executive Officer of Kitchen Country. And, people who are into food businesses, they have staff and a good number of them at that. So, 17-year-old Philip Emmanuel was hired by this woman, this company, this food industry, hired this young boy. Probably he has very good skills. He's actually a very good cook, because I know a lot of men that are wonderful in the kitchen. Now she hired this boy, and he had worked with her for 5 solid months. Now, after those 5 sweet months that he had worked with this woman, obviously he didn't have any problem, because if you have problem with somebody the first month, you start contemplating leaving the business. But you were there with her for 5 good months. After which she hired a new person to be her driver. And in a space of 2 weeks, and the new driver calls little boy Philip, Chef Philip, that's what they call themselves now, cooks, chef. So Uncle Driver calls Uncle Shefo and tells him, come, 150,000 just entered Madam's account. Let's run this. Let's run this. Let's do it. We can do this. And the boy is like, right now, let's just pause. Let's pause on the story. Before we, get into the remaining horrific details, let me just pause you people there first. Now let me ask, what exactly were they thinking? Are they her next of kin? Are they her children? How in the blue universe were they thinking that once they just end this lady, they have access to her account and then they will take the money inside it? How? What even gave the driver, who supposedly was the initiator of the whole thing, what gave him such inspiration? Anyways, let's go back to our story. So now, these two have risen together. Uncle Chef, that 17-year-old chef, has already started locking up his mind and is like, this money is entering my eye. Which brings me to another question. Were they not paying him enough? Was he not being paid well? 150K. Only. I know, to some people it's big money, to some people it's small money. But I mean, still think about it. Is there any amount of money in this world that's worth a human life? I don't think so. I do not think so. Anyways, these two eventually gathered their plans now, and then it was said that on this fateful day, Mrs. Adene called her boy Please come and help me and wash my dress. So, no vex, I'm not feeling too good. I'm tired. And the young boy comes over. Shortly after, the driver also presents himself. Okay? According to the young man who had been caught, obviously he had been caught for his crimes. According to the young man, he said that the woman was surprised to see the driver, but she didn't mind. It was okay, no problem. As a matter of fact, despite the so-called tiredness she had claimed to have been feeling, which is why she couldn't do her, laundry, she still went and made food for these people. Oh, yeah? She cooked for them. And after they ate, this was how these people decided, one, it's time to initialize this our action. OPS major, OPS major, come out somebody's mother's head. My dear darlings, next thing you know, these people have descended on this woman. Things they happen. Things they really happen. They descend on this woman. Now, 17-year-old Philip claimed to have hesitated and he didn't want to do what the driver asked him to do. And then the driver says, Enya, if you don't want me to cut off your head, if you don't want me to deal with you, Joan, and send you, as an escort with this woman, you better do as you're told. And the boy is claiming that he shakily did it. And these people brutally daggerdized this woman. And you ask yourself, just why? Someone's mom, somebody's wife. They just took turns, had their fun butchering, slicing parts of her body, her chest, her arms, her legs. It was also reported that they actually covered her face with a duvet. Yes, a blanket. They covered her head so that her screams wouldn't be heard by neighbors. Also coupled with the fact that the generator was on. So, the sound of the generator and her muffled screams, of course, there was no way anybody around could have heard or understood that something was going down in her home. Now, these people had successfully, made a mess of somebody's human self, somebody's human body. And they didn't stop there. They tried to make it look like a fire accident, a gas explosion. But it didn't really work out well because by the time investigation was carried out after this horrendous act, these people were traced to wherever it is they ran to. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys something. It turns out that after their whole planning and after the whole thing that they executed, it turns out that the full 150 wasn't even in the account. It was just 60. And the driver gave 17-year-old Philip 30 and took 30, according to the suspect, that is. So, look at all this. At the end of the day, for how much? If you look closely, she probably must have been paying him more than that 30 that he eventually took or left with at the end of the day. This is sad. Because right now you'd be wondering, why would somebody who claims to be young and innocent, someone who, has never committed such a thing or done such a thing like that in his life before, why would he consent to that? Oh, please, don't tell me, you were threatened. What happened to the police? Looking at the whole story, it looks like the driver himself is not probably a big man that you say, oh, he has powers, he has connections in the police force, he has, he could hurt me. If you really were of sincere, sound mind and you didn't want to do anything to this person, you didn't want to hurt this woman because you were scared or maybe because you're young or whatever reason it is you have, if you were really sincere, there were ways to have avoided it. You had the police, you had the woman, you could have run to her. There are ways that you could have avoided this, but you contemplated, you thought about it. Whatever it was, however it is, the driver painted the story to him. He thought about it. For him to have said, okay, but I'm scared though, okay, but I'm scared though. So that means you were greedy. There must have been some iota of greed for you to have finally agreed and said, okay, let's go and do it, even though say I did fear. And now a lot of people are blaming it on, because just look at what this country has done to us. Everything is hard in this country. It's the hardship that caused it. Please, save it. A lot of people in this country are going through worse. Some people are handicapped. They beg on the streets. They can't do anything for themselves. Some people are sick and they don't have money to treat that sickness that is worrying them. But you're alive and well. You even have a job. You have a job to feed with. At least, even if it's 10,000, even if it's 15, even if it's 5,000, it's something. You're earning. Some people, they don't have. What level of hardship exactly? There are people that there are other people that saw the same hardship. His mates that saw the same hardship that didn't resort to crime. Instead, they worked their asses off and said, you know what, since Nigeria is not working for me, and they outside the country, and they're doing well. The truth of the matter is, laziness sits pretty at the foundation of some of these things that we see happening in our country. Everybody wants to make fast money. Nobody wants to calm. These days, our young men, our young women, nobody wants to calm down and be creative and think of how they can make nice money. Everybody wants to quick so that we can do doings. We'll come out on social media and spray dollars, spray it everywhere. Come out in Benz and be making loud music. That's why you see a lot of people going into different crimes. Honestly speaking, some crimes, I know that crime is crime, you get. Okay, and when you want to start talking about hardship affecting young people, and that's why they go into crime, but when you see somebody that has the mind to another person, that's on a whole different level. That's diabolical. Let me tell you, from the onset, somewhere in your subconscious, it is there. Maybe you witnessed something like that growing up, or somehow it just came to you. It just registered somewhere, maybe from the movies you were watching, from the things you were seeing. I mean, I don't know how many of us know the story of Jeffrey Dahmer and how he grew up and how his mind became twisted as he was growing up. Sometimes the things we see with our eyes affects us. Sometimes the things we hear people say, the things we are exposed to. The truth of the matter is, it did here somewhere for you to have agreed. You are claiming that you were scared, you didn't want to, but you still did it. You get the mind to do them. It's just like when some women come out to say, oh, it's because their husband cheated. That's why. I know I've said this a lot of times, but it's the truth. You said that the reason why you cheated on your husband is because he cheated on you first. Please save it. This was somewhere inside your system to cheat all along. There's nothing like. I don't know if I'm making sense. So you can't say that, oh, somebody, because they threatened me to. That's balderdash. If you're not a killer, you are not a killer. No matter what. There's nothing like, oh, hardship of Nigeria. It's a lie. That mentality, if you have it, fold it and throw it inside the dustbin. Because what you're doing is even making excuse for yourself. On to say, if na you, where the hardship been do, if you still go on now. That will even indict you, so please don't even have that mentality. Throw it away. I mean, horrific things happen in this country every day, all right, and all over the world, but sometimes when we see things like this, it just honestly moves people to tears. This is too much. And for a teenager at that. Anyways, guys, I'm going to be wrapping this show at this point. I'd like to know what you think about the situation. Do you really think we should be blaming the country's hardship for some crazy decisions like this? Do you think we should really, it's okay to blame the country? I don't think it's okay to blame the country. I think every person should be accountable for whatever it is they decide to do with their lives. Yes, this has everything to do with the individual. Guess that's what I think. So I'd like to know what you think. And if you enjoyed this video, how about you click the like button? Don't forget to subscribe and share to your friends, because there's loving sharing. Okay, people, thank you once again for having me on another wonderful episode of The Kiwi Show. It's been your favorite girl, Jessie Rogers. And until next time, my people, it's going to be bye-bye. Mwah.